So, on this week's episode of The Magical Land of Elsewhere, I just wanted to cover because we always get a lot of requests about relocating animals to places that are less inconvenient for us humans, and I just wanted to discuss some of the reasons why you can't just pick up animals and move them elsewhere, despite the legality of it. So you actually can't move an animal more than 1 kilometer from where it's found, particularly rabies vector species in Ontario, to control disease spread. It's the same with even if you pick up a turtle out of a certain body of water and put it into a different one, you're spreading potential disease. But the requests, always with the requests, even people with birds. I have this bird, these pigeons made a nest on my balcony. I was just wondering if I could just put it in the park. Oh, the magical parks. The parks are apparently where all wildlife should live. It doesn't matter what kind of wildlife it is, if it's injured, if it goes in a park, they're just these apparent magical sanctuaries that people think exist. I've literally heard people and a lot of people, not one person, reason to themselves that I found this animal and it did seem like it had a broken limb, so I took it and I put it in the park. Right, so but this animal was living on my property, so it should go to the park. Let me explain something to you. So if we just scale down your world, so humans are big, the world's pretty big. If you're a tiny little bird or a tiny little rabbit, when people say things like, oh, I can just move this bird nest around the block, and the bird is gonna find it by what means? They don't actually have GPS, and birds actually can't even smell. So I'm not really sure what the train of thought there is. It's people just think animals are magical. They'll find it. No, they definitely won't. And then if it's babies, they will just die. Yeah, and also, so it's been very much proven by scientific research that animals don't survive if they're relocated. It's basically the analogy that I always give to people is if I just took you, they're oh, what's the harm? I'll just trap him and put him in a park. And it's no, the analogy I give people is, okay, if you want to do that, how about we blindfold you? You know, you live in this safe, comfortable home, you know where to find food, you know where to find shelter, you're all good to go. I'm gonna put a blindfold on you, we're gonna take you up in the air, and I'm just gonna drop you somewhere. I'm not gonna tell you where. You're not gonna know where water is, or food is, or shelter is. It's gonna be a full-on episode of Naked and Afraid, and we'll just see how you do. And they're oh, right. It's just put the shoe on the other foot. I mean, what if I found your child and was just this is inconvenient, and I only moved him around the block, you can find him? It's not reasonable. But people just, with animals, it's oh, we'll just move them out of my space and that'll be fine. They can exist anywhere. They have superpowers. And especially these parks. I mean, parks can heal injuries. They're where all animals should live, because they certainly shouldn't live on our lawn that is prescribed by my fence that wild animals also understand. And even just in terms of finding, say an eastern cottontail or a bunny nest, people will do the most strange things. Find it and be oh yeah, I found it. Sometimes even in a park already. You'd think that most people think that's the most ideal place to be. It didn't really seem like a safe area, so I just kind of grabbed all the babies and brought them home with me. Oh yeah? And what was your plan from there? Do you know how to raise baby bunnies? No. Where's their mom? Probably looking for them where she fucking left them. It's just wild. This occurs every single day, these strange requests and behavior, just acting that animals know how to find their baby anywhere in the entire world, really. I mean, imagine if you just like went out to do some grocery shopping and just came back and your house was just gone. Gone! How would you find it? Animals actually don't have superpowers. They're pretty badass, but don't have superpowers.